Coffee stains and name chains. I am such a loner. San Francisco bases got me slowly taking over. I can't wait to show you that I'm gonna take it over. Lico, beast mode, 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 Lico, beast mode. This is not a main thing, really I'm a coder. Coffee stains and name chains, I am such a loner. San Francisco bases got me slowly taking over. I can't wait to show you that I'm gonna take it over. Lico, beast mode, 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 Lico, beast mode.
Yo, chat, what's up, what's up? What's the name of this banger? It's called Leak Code Beast Mode, and we're dropping it soon. Somebody's just cooking up some stuff. What's up, what's up? What y'all up to? How's everyone's night going so far? What up, what up? Resubmit resumes. Okay, send it. Did you fix yours up? Improve productivity by 20% by adding a README. Where do we send resumes? Okay, this is what's happening again. Everyone's hopping in. They're like, yo, how'd I get a resume review? All right, I'll send it right now, real quick. I'll tell you exactly how. Yo, what's up? So pretty much the process is send your resumes in Discord, and then there's a specific channel with it. Yo, chat, I also talked to the head of Kleiner Perkins Talent. Let me see this. Yeah, this thing's gonna be unlimited, but starting on Friday, I'm doing coding interviews no matter what. Okay, bet. I'll send you a link. I'll send you a custom one. Yo, chat. So I was talking. I had a meeting with the head of Kleiner Perkins, head of talent at Kleiner Perkins, and pretty much, basically, they're gonna get the KP. Hold up. Basically, they're about to get these Kleiner Perkins applications out September 9. So, what do you think about Hamza? It's kind of boring, but it was sick to see Hamza win. But basically, they're dropping the fellows program on September 9. So what the Kleiner Perkins Fellowship is Kleiner Perkins is one of the top tier VC funds here in Silicon Valley. So what they're going to do is, if you apply to Kleiner Perkins Fellowship Program, once you get in, you have access to all their portfolio companies. and these are the top startups in Silicon Valley from seed to Series D. And yeah, pretty much you just interview once, and then you get access to all of their companies if you're able to join in. So pretty much, I was part of this program. That's why I'm sort of hyping it up, because it was actually really good for me. But essentially, what are some of the notable companies under their portfolio? Yo, what's up? What's up? Bro, like everything's under their portfolio. Hold up, what the hell is going on here? Wait one sec. My camera's tweaking out today. Filters. Everything's under their portfolio. Like Rippling, Applied Intuition, Motive, Labelbox, Glean, Figma. There's a lot. Together AI. Yeah, they accept Canadians. I'm Canadian. Nooks. There's a ton. And look at how many jobs are open for each one. We'll see. So basically, how hard is it to get accepted? So this is where we come in right now. Hold up. So basically, what we're doing is we have to get this signed off by the Kleiner Perkins like PR team, but we're gonna be doing a resume review with the head of the KP Fellows. We're doing a live stream where we're gonna be looking at resumes, and one thing she wants to do is actually look at the actual applications of these KP Fellows on live stream, but they need to actually make sure that they need to do so. They need to vet that, and then we're just gonna do interview or. Basically, she's just going to tell us how to nail the recruiter screen, how to pass the ATS and stuff like that. So, yeah, and then she's going to pretty much what we're going to focus on right now is a lot of the resume reviews and like intern related stuff. Not intern, like new grad intern stuff. But afterwards, we're going to shift over into like talking about founders and like connecting with founders and stuff like that. But dude, there's tons of companies in the portfolio. Like go look at the portfolio right here. What are some good ones? Figma's a good one. All the AI companies like Harvey, Nooks, Coda. Where's Glean? Get them to throw a couple people from your chat into the loop. What do you mean by that? Oh yeah. So basically, since she's a recruiter, these are the insights that she gave me as well. She basically said candidates, AI has pretty much changed how recruiting and everything around getting a job right now. On the candidate side and on the hiring manager side. So first off, candidates are using AI to apply. So you'll see all of these resumes are starting to look the same. And people are submitting their more people are submitting their resumes. Because it's the barrier to entry for having a good resume is lower now because you could just AI generate it. So they're just getting so many more applications these days because people are using AI to just generate their resumes and also mass apply. So what she said is it's really hard to get a true signal right now. It's hard to get a signal from the noise. There's a ton of noise. That's what she mentioned. So on the candidate side, there's a lot of AI tools. I'm not sure what people are using, but on her side, she uses a tool called Juicebox. But yeah, there's a higher volumes all around. Candidates aren't hearing back as much. Hard for them to find. Yeah, it's more just she's just saying that with all the AI stuff, it's just tons of applications are coming in. They have to use AI tools to find the signal through the noise. They still have to sort of maintain. One thing she said is that they're having trouble, or what they want to do is just maintain the human feeling to recruiting still. Because these days with so much volume, you have to use AI essentially. And and I asked her if the job market is cooked type thing, and she said, I mean, people are hiring from C to Series A, Series B, Series C, and she said the best way to tell if companies are actually hiring or if the market is bouncing back is if companies start hiring recruiters. And you could see all around companies are starting to hire recruiters, because when they hire recruiters, that means that they have a plan to grow the headcount, or they have like a long-term vision for how they want to grow the company. So I mean, it's true. Probably 2 years ago, a lot of recruiters got fired, and then there wasn't recruiters for a bit, and they're starting to come back up. So you could apply. You could apply to those portfolio companies yourself. But what getting into the fellowship program does is, first off, you're part of the KP Fellows program. So you have to move to SF, and you also have to work at one of the portfolio companies. But then during the 2 to 3 months, you're gonna be doing like events with your cohort, and the cohort is usually really smart. You'll meet a bunch of people from all of the top schools. You'll meet a bunch of people who started companies while they're still in school. You're gonna meet. It's usually about like 50 to 60 people that they accept, and yeah, they run a lot of events. I've met like the Figma CEO, the Handshake CEO, like a bunch of or I met the Rippling CEO. You just meet basically all those people. They throw events, and then they bring those people in, and then we have drinks, you have food, and you could just ask them questions after. Their applications open on September 9, and I'm gonna send the link. But all right, that's pretty much it. We'll talk more about that at a different time, but I encourage everyone to apply because it's a good way to break into Silicon Valley. And a good way to, if you want to be a founder one day. Oh, one other thing that they do as part of the program is, if you're part of the Kleiner Perkins Fellows program, you're eligible for 100K investment from them whenever you decide to start a company. Okay. Okay, who's in the chat? For what percentage? I don't even know. I just remembered they just said that was part of the program thing. All right. Let's get into this. I don't know what percent of the company, but I mean, I'm sure it's not nothing too crazy. Okay. Wait, let me grab something. Yeah, we'll have more details about the Kleiner Perkins Fellowship in the next few days, because what's also going to happen is she's also going to figure out what portfolio companies are participating. So, yeah, probably expect a lot of AI companies. All right. So, part 2 of reviewing the 45 plus resumes that were sent in. So, essentially what we have here is what I'm sort of looking at when I'm looking at the resumes. I'm looking for just good formatting and structure, making sure that they have clear sections and their sections are relevant for software engineering roles. Basic content such as their internships, projects, leadership, open source, coding competitions, hackathons, making sure they include their graduation date. Then I'm going to dive into some of the actual bullet points. And I'm not actually going to look at, well, most of what I'm judging is if they're just structured correctly and if they're results oriented and have good metrics. I'm not hiring for a specific role, so I can't say specifically if the bullet points are good because usually it depends on what role you're applying for. So mostly I'm just giving a high level overview, and then afterwards, if you need to fix anything up and you need to apply for every resume that you for every company you apply at, you should, not every company, but what I did is I would make 3 to 4 variations of my resume, one for big tech, one for startup, one for quant, and then have the different variations and tailor those resumes to those specific companies you're trying to get. 3 or 4 variations. You don't need to customize it for every single company because you just need to apply to as many companies as possible. That's my strategy that worked. I don't know about everyone else's, but that's the strategy for me that worked. Okay, who do we got here? We got Mike. So Mike, Bachelor of Science, Computer Science. Okay, let's look at the sections. You have all of the sections, which is good. Okay, you added I think you added this leadership and extracurricular. Ranked top 10% in hackathons and coding challenges, demonstrating algorithmic strength under time pressure. Led study groups of algorithms and system design for 15 plus peers. Raising mock interview pass rates by 30%. Okay. Move the technical skills to the bottom. Experience. Software development intern. Automated a federal contract ingestion system, eliminating 20 plus hours of manual research and enabling analysts to focus on high value bid preparation. Engineered an AI powered scoring pipeline with AWS Bedrock to rank contracts by department needs, filtering out 70% of irrelevant listings, ensuring staff reviewed only high priority opportunities. So these bullet points are actually pretty good, honestly. Developed an event-driven API for real-time CRUD sync across MariaDB and AWS S3, reducing backend latency by 30%. So I like how I'm getting, when I read these bullet points, I can visualize the projects that you worked on. And then if I can visualize the projects that you work on, it sounds better to me. So it already sounds hard, like building an AI-powered scoring pipeline. I could visualize that exactly in my head, what that would look like. Developed an event-driven API for real-time CRUD sync across MariaDB and AWS. That's very concrete. So I think your resume has improved a lot from yesterday. Super results-oriented, has the metrics, the bullet points, paint a picture of all the work that you've done in the past. I don't know. I don't know if you changed anything. Maybe I'm saying random stuff. But maybe what you need to do, maybe this is something I would try, is try bolding the metrics just so that they pop out. And then see if that looks better or not. In the Google how to build a resume video that I like to reference, they give that advice of bolding some of the metrics. Projects. Built a high-performance username monitor to help small brands secure rare, high-value, critical, or online presence. Processing 100K plus usernames. See, these bullet points are really good because I can see the impact of the work that you did. So, yeah, this I can see the impact. You're building this username monitor for small brands and helping them build their online presence. I see the impact of the work that you actually did. Imagine you just said, build a username monitor that process 100K usernames per second. Sounds cool technically, but I don't really see the business value, or I can't really see like where it ties into everything. But this one is a lot better. Yeah, if you could put a dollar amount, throw it on there. Okay, pretty good resume. So the main thing I would just do, okay, like the languages and technologies are here. Main thing I would just do is just make sure to just for, tailor it for, like make the variations that I mentioned. So if it's a full stack role, make sure it's full stack focused. When I'm looking at your resume right now, it looks very full stack oriented. Okay, who's this next person? Background's tweaking. I'm gonna get a proper green screen at some point. Alright, what do we have here? So, Toronto, Ontario, 2030 expected. Okay, that's still really far away. So, I would only be really interviewing this person if it's like those Google stat programs or super early stage. Bachelor of Eng, Computer Science. Why is this indented all the way in? I would move this back maybe. Technical skills. Okay. So was an SD intern, has projects. Do you have any leadership or awards? That's one thing. I like the format though. I like the format. So let's look at the bullet points. Migrated legacy testing infrastructure to AWS serverless technologies, enabling scalable containerized test execution. Reduced test suite runtime by 85%, accelerating development cycles and improving productivity efficiency across engineering teams. Saving 90,000 annually by optimizing resource utilization and automating test execution pipelines. Designed for future scalability. The bullet points are super technical, so this person it seems like they're working on some hard stuff. Let's see what we can improve here. I mean, the metrics are there. I mean, the results speak for yourself. If you can reduce the test suite runtime by 85%, that has a big effect on the business. Testing infrastructure. Interesting. They probably worked at AWS or something. Design. So it's super technical. I like it. How do you verify the metric? Who really verifies the metric? I've never had someone verify the metric in any of my interviews. Migrated the user forms API from a C# monolith to a microservice, resulting in a 37% decrease in API latency, as well as doubling request capacity, significantly improving service reliability. Developed automated load tests using NBomber and Docker, storing test results in a MySQL database, as well as implementing multi-threading, reducing runtimes by 10 minutes. Led the development of a company-wide site using React. I mean, this is a pretty good resume. This person doesn't have trouble getting internships anyways, so I mean, they already had 4 internships. I don't think I need to give advice here. It's a pretty good resume. I would probably give this guy an interview. Master's degree, 3.76 out of 4. June 2025. March. Okay. This is kind of weird. Maybe why not just spell it out completely? But I mean, it's fine. So master's degree, mentored 200 plus students, streamlined course structure, and resolved team blockers. AWS Solutions Architect, university name, Bachelor of Engineering. Pretty good so far. So education, work experience, project, technical skills, and accomplishments. So contribute to the development of LLM powered recruitment. So it has all the sections that I usually like, which is, I mean, I really like this accomplishment section because you kind of get to show other things related to just working, such as like open source publications, research publications. It's really good area to just throw some of your other achievements that don't really fit anywhere else. So all the sections is good, 100%. Let's start looking through the bullet points. You engineered a word to vec embedding pipeline to detect semantic similarities between columns in a complex biomedical database. In complex biomedical databases, improving schema mapping accuracy for the N1H translator project. Developed an LLM-powered SQL transformation layer using Code Llama 13b to automatically generate optimized SQL views, enabling seamless reconciliation of heterogeneous biomedical schemas with support for joins, data typecasting. That's pretty cool. This is pretty cool. Design an LLM guardrail validation framework with pandas and scikit-learn to benchmark SQL transformations from multiple models, achieving up to 82 precision and 73% recall in a gold labeled biomedical schemas. Okay, see, these bullet points are a lot better than, because you'll see a lot of people when they talk about their, like, I built a model, and then they never talk about the precision, they never talk about the recall, they never talk about the accuracy, they don't talk about any of the metrics related to the model. So why would I even, like, this person's is a lot better because they actually show the metrics. How good was their model actually? So this is good work experience related to data science. Automated end-to-end disaster recovery workflows for critical Java microservice and infrastructure via bash scripting, cutting system downtime from hours to under 30 minutes. Okay, bullet points are solid. They have metrics. They're results oriented. To do a log and SQL tracing. Migrate RabbitMQ cluster. Highly technical RabbitMQ using different, talking about the different technologies like Code Llama 13b. I think it's highly technical resume. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. Let's see. What would I say here? I think for a master's degree, maybe you could even make it even more technical, even more impressive. It's pretty technical and impressive right now, but try to dig deeper into some of the points and just try to see if there's any way that you could make it more technical and impressive. If this was coming from a new grad and it was this deep and technical, that'd be very impressive. As a master's student, it's still impressive, but I feel like it could get deeper as a master's student. Real-time AI video avatar system. Engineered a multimodal AI avatar system that converts text and speech to synchronized video using GeneFace and Google TTS, achieving sub 2-minute processing time to improve virtual communication. Deployed a scalable serving pipeline with fast API and Docker, exposing REST API for asynchronous avatar generation. I mean, it's a really good resume. Honestly, I would definitely interview this person. How do you verify an internship for Google? Background check. Company's background check. The resumes are a lot better today. Was that yours? Got them? No, that was a really good resume. Really, really good resume. Share Discord link. The Discord link is in the chat. it's pinned, but not getting filtered in ATS. I'm gonna get the recruiter to come on the stream, and we're gonna really debunk all this ATS stuff. Okay. Persons in masters. So a lot of master's students expected May 2027. So somebody commented on one of my videos, and they said that hiring managers are telling them to not put the expected graduation date or something like that. I mean, I don't believe that at all. Wait. Alex, it's pretty much for interns. So this is what somebody was saying. They said, I thought putting the graduation date was bad. What? I don't see why putting a graduation date would be bad. Because as a company looking to hire somebody who's in school, I need to know exactly when they're graduating. That's just what I need to know. So I'm going to either find out like if you don't include it, it's like most videos that I watch, they say it's bad for experienced hires to say because of ageism. Maybe it probably maybe for experienced hires, I could see what you mean there. I wouldn't include it after some years, but if you're a student, I need to know exactly when you're going to graduate. If you watch any video on Google, Amazon, Meta on how to build a resume, they're going to tell you to clearly say your graduation date. So I don't know. If you're an experienced grad, you already graduate, so there's no such thing as graduation date. I thought his graduation date is pretty much, what I mean graduated date is pretty much here. But even on my resume, I kind of include when I still graduate. But his take was you get a little edge on salary negotiation if you don't say your graduation date. I mean, I don't see how you'd get an edge on salary negotiation. Your work experience is your work experience. Just because if you like basically they're only gonna figure out your salary based on how much you currently make and maybe if you have competing offers and your current role. Graduation date, I don't really see how that's gonna affect your salary negotiation. People aren't gonna hire you or give you more money just because you graduated 5 years ago. They might even give you less. If you graduate 5 years ago and all of a sudden, yeah, I don't know. Okay, let's get back into this. So this person's University of Illinois, pretty good school for computer science. They're in their master's. Technical skills. So they have a lot of internships. They have some projects. They don't have an awards or a leadership area. That's fine. I don't think graduation date matters if you've already graduated long time ago. Mostly I was just saying graduation date. Graduation date, what I mean by graduation date is this. Expected. If you graduated way long ago, it doesn't really matter. Is it bad if I start uni in 2020 I'm expected to graduate? Not really. It's not bad if you did internships. It doesn't matter. So let's look at their... So first off, this person already has really good experience. They worked at NASA, Lucid Motors, and in a random e-commerce startup with around 100 employees. Improved mission analysis by delivering a Next.js dashboard for analytics, equipment tracking, and CSV exports. Built a Django plus Postgres backend to process 10 plus years of ISS exercise records to enhance data access. Configured a Raspberry Pi running Linux as a wireless access point with Nginx, enabling 24/7 local availability. So first off, you're kind of the person is sort of just listing out their role and responsibilities, the things that they did, but it needs to be more results oriented, and you need better metrics here. So really think about what results you drove and what metrics you could add here. The bullet points could be improved a lot, especially compared to the previous one. The bullet points here can be improved a lot. Run it through GPT, make the bullet points a lot better. Engineered scalable UI components in React TypeScript to enhance Lucid's supplier portal. Oh, Alex, for sure. I'm down. I'll be there. I'll be in Vegas. Resolve RBAC and supplier data issues by updating 10 plus RESTful. Achieved 85. So this is achieved 85% coverage on supplier onboarding tests using Playwright, reducing. I would say the bullet points are just okay. Go back to the last couple people that I showed and look at their resumes, and you could see the difference. So I would say your structure is good. The bullet points could be improved a lot. Especially this is already really good experience, but just the bullet points are kind of shallow. You can make them deeper, more technical, more results oriented, more metrics. Next person. So we have a Master's of Science in Computer Science, 3.6 GPA, New York. When do they graduate? Okay, there's somebody they did their undergrad in India, Bachelor of Technology in Computer Science. I mean, it's hard for me to tell when they graduate. Is it this? You should say expected graduation date. Okay, work experience in project section, typical. So let's look at the bullet points. Center for Understanding Biology Using Imaging Technologies. SD intern. Designed and implemented high-performance distributed data processing algorithms for 3 terabytes plus of biomedical image pipeline, achieving 35 latency reduction through optimized fast API microservices with Kubernetes and launched and fault-tolerant architecture. So you could already see this bullet point was better than the last candidate. It's just there's metrics there, and it sounds more technically complex. But what was the result? I just don't see the business impact right away. Like why did you need to build that algo? Develop state-of-the-art records management processing for PostgreSQL backend with Redis caching layer, enabling real-time analysis of 15,000 plus patient records while maintaining ACID compliance and achieving 40% query improvement. What do you mean maintaining ACID compliance? Isn't that just done by the database? Using some extra buzzwords here. Set up AWS Cloud for healthcare app features and build Jenkins Docker CI/CD pipelines, catching 23 bugs before launch and cutting release time by 88%. Achieving 100 test coverage and 90... Not bad. Bro would cook candidates during interview resume girls. Microsoft Software Engineering. Implemented distributed high performance data management algorithms for Azure Meta microservice, reducing API latency by 20% and serving 100 million users through advanced caching strategies and algorithmic optimization techniques. Architected scalable document processing systems using Java Spring Boot with object-oriented design principles. Hold on. Not bad, not bad. Built distributed logging data processing algorithm for 5G network processing 80 plus daily events. So I think it's a highly technical resume. I like it because it's highly technical. It sounds like they can dive deep and work on hard things. But I just don't see the business impact of the things that they were doing. And business impact is very important. I need to know that, I need to be able to visualize where all this really ties in. Otherwise, it just sounds like imagine somebody worked on a lot of hard things, but they're in super isolated area. Versus somebody who worked on some hard, not super hard, but medium, but it had such a big business impact and had to collaborate with so many people to get it done. I mean, I'm kind of biased for that person where they had a big business impact and they had to work with a lot of people, and it doesn't need to be super complicated, but at least I know that because in a company, a lot of the things that you're doing, not all the time you're working on the hardest problem ever. A lot of times you're working on medium hard problems, but have to collaborate with a ton of people to get things done and have to drive business impact. I mean, business impact is the most important thing for me. Let me reduce my... If I reduce my screen... when I reduce my screen brightness, it doesn't mess up. It doesn't reduce it for y'all too. Oh, you can't even see me reducing my screen brightness. Shit. Okay, whose is this? Yeah. Alex has a ton of experience. Any 2 cents on preparing for a chat interview with a startup company? The main thing about talking to startup companies is you really need to show that you're interested in startups. Startups are looking for very specific people. A lot of times they're not looking for people who want to just join big tech companies. Because those people won't really succeed at a startup. I know that from first-hand experience, having interviewed people who... Exactly. So startup people are looking for people who are genuinely passionate about startups and genuinely care about startups. And a lot of times they want people who are generalists usually as well. Usually working at a startup, when we try to hire someone from big tech, the main thing is, first off, we don't really know if they're really going to put in the hours or have the same sort of drive and motivation that it needs to succeed in the startup. Especially it's pretty all over the place than what they're used to. You're doing random stuff. Things get prioed, deprioed. It's just way less certainty than what they're used to. And usually they're getting paid way more than if they just joined the startup. So, yeah, that's a little bit about that. But my advice to if you're gonna apply for a startup is just show how passionate you are about startups. if you're really into startups, just tell them about how passionate you are about startups. Maybe you want to start a startup one day. The ideal person to work at a startup is somebody who wants to start a startup for themselves one day. That's the ideal person. Because that person, when they'll put in so many hours, and it's not because they just want to get a promotion, it's because they want to learn so much and they want to take as much responsibility so that when they start the startup for themselves one day, they've already got the repetitions in. So from what I've seen of people who actually succeeded well in startups are the people who wanted to start startups for themselves. Okay, let's read through this. Expected graduation date, May 2025. Does that answer your question? Yo, what do y'all think about Wingstop? I just had that for dinner. Any questions before we get into this next person? So what tech stack are you? Lemon pepper wings are gas. So what tech stack are you familiar with? Django or React? Are you expected to be full stack and jet startups? Are you? Yeah, you're expected to be full stack and jet startups, all the way up to Series E or F. What I noticed working at most companies, maybe this is a Bay Area thing. It's pretty much most people are expected to be full stack engineer. As in, you shouldn't be given a task and you just say, "Oh, I don't really work on the back end." For example, when I was working at a startup, there was a problem with our mobile app. I still had to go in and fix it. Even at Meta, every engineer is pretty much a full stack engineer. There's pretty much two roles. It's more what I notice is it's not really full stack engineer or back end engineer or front end engineer. Most engineers these days are either product engineers or infrastructure engineers or AI engineers. What does that mean? Product engineers pretty much just build product features out. So when things need to be done on the product, you need to build out a feature on the product. You're going to take that product feature from end to end. That involves figuring out the design, implementing the design, hooking up with the back end, making sure that the data it like loads in the database, like setting up the database, all the APIs, everything related to get that product up and running. And then all of the work that it takes to take that product feature from ideation to launch, monitor and launch and make it successful, and then later make sure that if anything goes wrong, you're notified. So that's what a product engineer does. Infrastructure engineers work on some of the infrastructure stuff. So for example, some of the infrastructure engineers were building at my previous company, they were building like we're taking our database which was only on one server, or not one server, was only in one location or one geolocation. I forget what they're called. It was in US West 2. And then we're just replicating across US East, US EU, or like the EU servers, AWS EU, all the different regions, yeah. So we just had to replicate across regions. So that's some of the stuff that infrastructure engineers work on. And then even when you get into AI, there's AI product engineers that build out product features that leverage AI. Then there's sort of AI infrastructure engineers. Maybe they work on like serving the model and making sure the model is serving at a high QPS, all related to stuff. And there's people trading that. There's a lot of jobs, but if you want to get the most opportunities possible, especially when you're starting out your career, I would say being a generalist will get you the most amount of opportunities. Like pretty much my whole career, I've just been a generalist. I've never been hired into a stack that I already knew. So when I moved over to Rippling, I didn't really, I knew Python and Django and AWS and stuff, but I didn't really work on Django and Python and their specific stack, and I just got hired into it. Then even switching into Meta, I didn't really know the tech stack, which is like Hack, PHP, and I mean their stuff is custom, so they don't really expect people. So I got hired based on not because of the technologies that I listed in my resume, but because of probably the results that I driven. Or I'll show my resume. Y'all want to see my resume? I got cooked at Rippling because I forgot what their product was. Bro, I had friends get cooked at the Rippling like manager screens. I've heard it's better to be a specialist than a generalist in tech. I don't agree with that. I think you need to be a generalist because especially if you're trying to get a job. And I think generalist is just, I mean, things move so fast in tech. Why be a specialist? Why be a specialist? Like the problem is never the same. Yeah, exactly. I would say generalist when you first start your career and then specialize after. But I wouldn't try to specialize right away. Pretend you try to specialize in something right away, but then the market moves somewhere else. You can't predict the market. Now all your resume points are on one specific thing that no one cares about. Hold up. Let me grab something. Give me a sec. How has it changed going from Rippling to Meta? I mean, Rippling was probably pretty intense. The best job I ever had was working at an early stage company. That was the most fun I've ever had. Meta's probably second. Rippling is just crazy intense, and they're known for being intense. Intense from the top down. Like the top, even the highest people working there, the CEO is a workaholic. He grinds. People are really, really smart though, honestly. Yeah, they asked me to leak code hard, but I already seen the question. Can I touch on salary? So what do you want to know about salary? So most of the time, yeah, what do you want to know about salary? Your interviewer was a 3.8 CMU grad. Your interviewer at Rippling? Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, at Rippling, okay, my onboarding buddy, the guy who onboarded me, he worked at Google for like 4 years, Meta for a couple years. He worked at Cruise on the self-driving car. Then he went to Meta, and then like my other coworker, he was working at Meta for 8 years, and then PayPal way before that, and then he joined Rippling, and then like everyone on my team had crazy resume. So I think you definitely work with a lot of good people at Rippling. You just need to be willing to work hard and grind. You want to work at a startup but hate full stack? I'd rather do infra or full on backend. I think to work on just straight up back end, it's very, you could always, so when I was working at Rippling, it's Series F or G, or it's higher now. It there were people who preferred to work on back end, but if you're working at a product focused company like a SaaS company, it's pretty much impossible to get away with only working on the back end. So a lot of them would say, "Oh, I really only like back end. I don't want to work on the front end stuff." But eventually, they'd have to do some front end stuff. So I'll just say, get good at it. Arthur, so what were you for intern or was it for grad position? And what school do you go to? Berkeley? Okay, yeah, they hire. The one thing about Rippling though is it's a bit elitist. They just kind of like to hire from Berkeley, Waterloo, Stanford. It's a little bit, they're a bit elitist when it comes to what I notice when I look at the intern cohort. It's pretty much mostly from the top schools. Okay, you got some good experience. Oh, this is your resume? All right, let's get into it. Luis, welcome. All right, so top 25 university expected May 2026. Bachelor in computer science. Data structures and analysis. Okay, talks about the different courseworks. Okay, the sections look good. I think I already reviewed this person's before. I don't even know. So what do they do? Red Hat. Modernize the automated testing suite for Ansible controller, Red Hat's automation UI, and REST API by replacing 15 plus flaky legacy tests with a Python-based framework, increasing reliability to 100% and stabilizing CI. Enhance webhook API reliability by implementing an end-to-end PyTest suite covering 15 lifecycle scenarios. Ensuring version migrations for 30% enterprise clients via Python script resolving duplicate Postgres entries. Build a Jenkins automation using GitLab API to sync repos to CI/CD. I mean, the bullet points are good, but they're not great. I think the metrics aren't really popping out to me. One way to improve that is maybe front load the metrics, move the metrics to the front. Similar to how these are structured. So accomplish X as measured by Y by doing Z. When I'm just reading through the bullet points, I'm just kind of reading a list of your job responsibilities, the different things you're doing. But I need it more results oriented. The metrics need to pop out more. Like the technical stuff is there, but the technical stuff it doesn't seem that deep. Maybe instead of highlighting the technologies you use, try to highlight the metrics that you drove. Architecture secure API key management and integrate a NoSQL database into a cloud platform backend, enabling the first iOS app development for Porch, a nonprofit serving. Okay, this is good. It talks about the impact of that this thing was being used by 850 plus families. That already sounds a lot like pretty impressive. Built a Twilio integrated REST API Node.js to automate donor messaging, increasing response rates by 70%. Managed an agile team of 6 backend developers with a team of 20, including UI UX. Okay, let's look at this. Built a Chrome extension and React dashboard to extract deadlines from syllabus PDF in one click. Create a Python backend using. Okay. Developed a full stack web application for managing sneaker inventory, a tool for tracking. I think your resume has solid structure. It's a good structure. It has all the basics when it comes to the content, but I think your experience and bullet points could just hit or slap harder. You just need to make those better, add better metrics, make it more results oriented. Impact should be clearly stated, all that. So I think just try to think about how you can make these bullet points better, and just you can look back in some of those. I'll share out some resumes that I thought were really good. Yeah, really think hard about it. Honestly, these ones are a little bit better here. These ones are better. And this. How long do you think it would take to specialize in AI ML? Honestly, I'm not sure because I don't really know AI ML. My guess is if you go to school for it, you could probably get a job right away, like a master's, or you did it. If you want to specialize in AI ML and you're coming from a full stack engineer, it's gonna take a little bit to shift into it. Maybe a few years of positioning yourself closer and closer to all of the AI stuff. That's sort of what I'm doing. Damn, so if I didn't go to a target school, I am cooked. No, you're not cooked because I didn't go to a target school. I'm still able to get good jobs. But a target school for sure helps, but it's not finance. You're not going to never get any of these good jobs just because you didn't go to a target school. Luis, where were you? What school do you go to? Nice. Yeah. I think here, I think just really focus on building, having a really good bullet points here. So just think hard of what you can do to build these bullet points better. What are the different business metrics or business results that you help drive? And then start to think about some of those tasks that you did that helped move those business metrics, and then make sure that you have good metrics. I think this is good for a college student though. Yo, Liam, what's up? Is Waterloo a target school? Of course. Waterloo literally has one of the top internship programs in the world. It's pretty much a target school for internships. I don't know about for like researchers and other stuff. As an entry backend, I kind of felt bored. Just work with APIs, crud. What I'm gonna do? I want to work with system. Help me. Um, yeah. If you're getting bored of just building APIs in CRUD, I mean, you can automate that with AI, and then just move on to more deeper things, or continue to expand your scope, and just ask for, just talk to your manager, talk to your director, talk to whoever can help you get work that you're more interested in. If you're just building APIs in CRUD the whole time, yeah, I'd be bored too. So I mean, it's all about communication. If you can't find what you want to do at your company, switch companies. Do you know what the meta interviews are gonna look like nowadays? No, I have no idea what the meta interviews are gonna look like nowadays. A lot of companies are switching to those AI interviews, but I don't know how those are going so far, and I haven't really seen it. What is this? Holy, this they gave me the worst platform to look at this. There's only two levels of to download it. So University of Michigan, Bachelor's of Computer Science and Bachelor of Honors in Mathematics. So if I was hiring for a FANG company or a startup, I would already like that because they have a good background in computer science and mathematics. I think that's a good foundation to be really good in the field. Expected graduation May 2027. If I had to choose a double major, I would choose this double major. Relevant coursework, data structures, algorithms, whatever. Okay, now they're also joining clubs, which is good. They have the Imagine Software. They're at the Michigan Data Science team. They're in the Mathematics Club. They're in the AI Club. They're at a V1 Startups Club. They're at a Business Minor at Ross. So this candidate has good sections. They have the good education, work experience. They have projects. They have their skills at the bottom. I like their education just because they're a computer science grad and they're doing a double major or a double degree in computer science and math, and those are two really good degrees to be successful in this field. I think regardless where the industry is gonna shift, that's good foundations because you know how to think logically and you know how to work on hard problems, and you're essentially being trained to solve problems. Software Development Engineering Co-op built an internal data analysis tool for battery testing used by 50 plus employees, optimizing file caching and graphing algorithms to reduce plotting latency by 42% and allow concurrent data graphing and analysis. Used by 50. Okay, I like this. It shows the metrics. It shows the impact that 50 people are using it to like do data analysis. Redesigned the loading and transport scheme to preclude idempotent processing, cutting storage overheads by 67%. Develop pipelines to handle large variable format files in bulk using polar, seaborne, and visualize temporal heat maps of battery cell data, leading to 30% increase in anomaly detection. I mean, the bullet points are good. No, I think maybe they could improve them a little bit, but I don't have any suggestions for it right now, like off the top. Develop C++ algorithms to compute explicit optimal solutions to RMAB problems beyond heuristic estimates. Leverage dynamic programming and multinomial combinatorics to solve intractable resource allocation problems. Profiled critical code paths using tools like Valgrind, and gprof. Identify bottlenecks with statistical modeling to perform. Man, these are a mouthful. I think their resume is pretty good. Super technical. Has metrics. I would just try to figure out where it ties in. I mean, the projects are good. Reinforcement learning, C++ chess engine, Tetris library. Secured 10K. I don't know. It's a pretty good resume. Let's see. The one thing is they're literally taking all the way from left to right. There's no space left on this thing. But I don't know. The bullet points are a mouthful. I think they could probably be a little bit more simplified. But overall, I think I would give the bullet points B plus, A minus, just because they're very, very, very technical, but probably could be improved. Holy, we're getting through these. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 25 left. Alright, let me take a quick break. Give me a sec. Y'all rest up for a sec. I'll be right back and we're gonna finish this off strong. I need to rest my voice. Is the resume in chronological order? I'm just go. It's pretty much in random order right now. I'll be back in like 2 minutes. But I'm going back in chronological order again. Holy. We've been grinding. I'm probably doing a hard stop at 10. Wait, let me check if anything went off on call. My on call streak. I've been getting pinged. Workload's not bad. Look, they gave me a work phone. 2 phones. I had to, man. I like to get on call as fast as possible. Get it out the way. At Rippling, they forced you to get on call though. Like, you need to be on call within 3 months, otherwise you get fired. I'm better than they're way more chill, but I still like to get on call. He said that to you? 3 months to get on call, you get fired? Dude, 3 months is a little too early. I feel 4 months, 5 months, yeah. 6 months. Yeah. Yeah, dude. Yeah, 3 months is fast. Especially, meta on call after 3 months is way... 3 months at a big tech company, you can't ramp up in 3 months. The code is way too big. There's way too much systems. There's way too much people. Okay, let's get back into this. So we have this student education. They already graduated, so they moved the education to the bottom, which is good. They have some education. They have some projects. They have some technical skills. Let's look at what they accomplished so far. Developed AWS serverless Lambda functions in Python, fast API and distributed systems for data processing. Authored RESTful APIs with Node.js and Express.js, enhancing backend infrastructure and service reliability. So first off, the main thing that I'm seeing right now is they're just listing out their roles and responsibilities. Yeah, they're developing AWS servers. They're authoring RESTful APIs. But what were they building these APIs for? Were they building out a specific product? Were they launching a specific feature? Like, I don't see This is kind of general. This is kind of, you just look at what the job posting is and just move it over and then change the perspective. But so this resume, you need to tell me, you need to add more details here. Let me know what the business impact was. Let me know like what results you drove. Let me know what metrics that you drove and clearly state them. You can see there's a big trend. Whenever there's a resume that I have to critique, it's mainly because of that. It's not usually because of format. Some people have weird format. But a lot of times it's just the bullet points have no depth. They're not that technical. They don't show how they affected the business. They don't show good metrics. So that's where this person can prove right away. You even need to read the rest of it. So what do we have here? We have an AI ML engineer. Why is this thing so tilted to the side? AI. What the? To move myself, not to the corner. So we have an AI ML engineer, researcher with 5+ years of experience developing ML, deep learning, NLP. So first off, I don't really care for this. I'll just remove that. So, yeah, I would just remove this. Like, is bold words actually recommended? Well, I like to bold my metrics. So a lot of in the YouTube video I like to reference, they say bold the metrics. I think bolding the metrics help things pop out. But this bolding here is not really consistent. They're just bolding random stuff like emerging AI trends, collaborative innovation, user engagement. I don't know what they're trying to bold. The main thing what I say to people if they bold is just be consistent in what you bold. If you're gonna bold metrics, bold metrics. If you're gonna bold adjectives, bold adjectives. I mean, you should never want to, like, I've seen resumes like that. It's weird. Some people bold the technologies, but just be consistent. So one thing about the summary section is like the one thing about the summary section is I never find it useful because especially they say they're skilled in PyTorch, TensorFlow, and transformers. Right? So you're just telling me in the summary, but I don't really care for it in the summary. You should show me that you're familiar in PyTorch and TensorFlow and transformers by showing me specific projects that you've worked on and specific bullet points of things that you've done where you use PyTorch, use TensorFlow, and use transformers. That's why this part is kind of useless. I like to bold the metrics, especially when you're just looking at a resume with no bold. It kind of tells you where to look at. Some people do it good, some people do it bad. It all depends on how you do it. So my recommendation with people bolding resumes I usually just tell them, try bolding, and then see how it looks. If you don't like it with bolding, don't bold it. If you like it, if it looked better with bolding, bold it. Like it's really subjective. Developed edge exercise monitoring system with PyTorch, CNN plus LSTM hitting 70% pose accuracy in 500 milliseconds and lifting user retention by 35%. What do you mean? Like user retention on what? Why would user retention go up? Is it because now the model's more accurate? Now they want to use it? I don't get this. Like the capitalizations are just bad. Oh, yeah. I'm gonna note this down. This resume is not good. I think just the weird bolding, the weird capitalizations like fast API. So there's clear grammar and like why they uppercase Langchain and Bert. So there's just way too much bolding. The fonts are inconsistent. Some things are completely uppercased. Some of the metrics sound off. For example, lifting user retention by 35%. Like cutting daily by 60% and reaching 90% reliability. Deployed models via fast in Docker containers, enabling Git role-based rollbacks. Just the grammar needs to improve here. Partnered with product and risk teams to launch features that reduce customer churn by 15%. Okay, and it goes into 2 pages. So this resume could be improved a lot. Turn it into 1 page first off. That's pretty criminal. Honestly, it looks like the resume just has a ton of buzzwords. I don't really get the sense that it's really that technically deep. It's kind of just like a lot of buzzwords. Doesn't show much business impact. Doesn't show, like, the metrics are a little bit off, and just the capitalizations too. There's a bunch of things that I mentioned that could be improved here. But I think overall, obviously, this person has a lot of experience. This person is really smart. So if they really spent the time to just follow all the advice I just said, I think their resume could actually be really strong. James, if you have a chance, can you talk about your workload at Meta and how's it going? How was it going back in right after vacation? Sorry, my bad. Workload at Meta is good. I mean, for no more than 40 to 45 hours in a week. Yeah, honestly, it's been good so far. I really like the job. The projects are really cool. I mean, going into vacation, coming back from vacation was pretty easy. It wasn't really stressed. I don't know. Everything has been good so far. No real concerns about it. Everyone's always shocked. They're saying they always think that that it's gonna be really messed up. But how are you liking Hack? It's actually not bad. Hack is actually not bad. It's not as bad as I thought it would be. There's a lot of things that help you write code in Hack. How do you consistently get decent sleep and balance? School bus runs at 7. So what my day was like today, what my typical day is, I wake up at 7, then I'll work up until 5 to 5:30. And then I'll go to the gym from 6 to 8, then I'll stream from like 8 to 11. Then I'll sleep from 11 to 7. So usually I'll get a good 8 hours of sleep. And then pretty much on the days if I want to hang out with friends or anything, then some days those days I won't stream or I won't hit the gym. But usually I try to hit the gym 3 to 5 times in a week. Yo, this is a good resume already. Dude, I used to play too many video games, so now I don't play them at all. I sort of overcorrected. And honestly, I just have as much fun doing this stuff as I did playing video games. And there's so many things that I'm trying to build out right now that I'm thinking about. There's so much things that I'm trying to automate when it comes to this YouTube channel. Like different tools I want to build, and like I'm always thinking about I'm always thinking about video ideas. Just a bunch of random stuff. So I actually need a lot of time to actually just do nothing as well. How long you been at Meta for? I started at May 5, so June, July, August, like less than 4 months. I've been in the Bay for 4.5 years. Aziz, I thought I already did your resume. I've never done your resume before. Is there a point where you would ever try and create your own startup? Or are you going to retire at a company? I think definitely I want to start my own company at some point. That's sort of what I'm thinking through right now. Started May 5 or took a I started at May 5. How old am I? I'm too old. Just got to grind to a top tier big tech startup. All right. So we're looking at this next person's resume. College of Staten Island, City University of New York. Expected May 2025, so they're about to graduate. They have a Bachelor of Science in Computer Science, 3.8 GPA, which is a solid GPA, relevant coursework. Okay, they have all of the right sections. They have a ton of projects, which is good. Maybe they could have like an accomplishments section or leaderships to show off any clubs that they did. But developed a multi-vendor API integration that dynamically routes requests to appropriate vendor APIs, enabling developed a multi-vendor API integration that dynamically routes requests to appropriate vendor APIs, enabling real-time data exchange across 4+ international partners and improving system scalability. Redesigned 5 key web pages, enhancing mobile responsiveness and implementing new features and design elements, receiving positive feedback from 90% of users. Refactored the code base for 5 key pages. So first off, this doesn't seem as technically impressive as some of the other ones. Seems like they're just doing some refactorings. They're a Google Software Engineering Fellow. Fine-tuned algorithms under a Google SWE, debugging inefficient algorithms, reducing runtime by 30%. Engineered solutions to technical problems, addressing edge cases. Selected for a highly... I think the bullet points could be a lot better, and it's the same advice that I've just been giving to a lot of the students is just make it more results oriented. I need to be able to visualize the result that you've driven or the project that you were working on, the impact. It just needs to be more impact focused than just sort of listing out the roles and responsibilities of your time there, or just a list of the things you've done. There are some metrics here, but they're not really like popping out to me. So I think here the bullet points could just be improved a lot more. Pretty much they just need to work on this portion, the experience and accomplishments section. Let's look at some of their projects. They built an AI trip planner, developed a full stack trip planning application that allows users to input parameters such as budget and location, generating a list of hotels and a personalized daily itinerary that will make the trip planning experience easier. Integrated Gemini AI API and Google Places to dynamically create. This is good technically, but how many people actually use your product? Did you try to get the project out in front of people? Like, did anyone actually use it? Did you put it up on the App Store? Those are all things that students actually have done too. So automatically those I've seen people with these type of projects, but then they actually tried to ship it. They actually tried to get people on it, and those people would always get the first look. So that's how I could improve some of these. They sound good. They sound like you learn a lot, but really, if nobody has ever used it, it doesn't sound as impressive, honestly. It just sounds like a school project. Yeah. So I think overall it could probably be improved by just having more results across everything here. Having more showing more of the actual impact of all the work that you've done. How does it lead up to people actually using it? How does it actually? How do people actually use it, etc. I don't know if that makes sense, but I think the resume is good. I think it's a decent resume, but it could be great if you tie it into actual accomplishments and actual like business metrics or users or yeah, pretty much that. Daniel, what's up? Long time. I got an OA for a sweet internship at TikTok, but the questions weren't Lico style. So did I close the OA? Yeah, it'd be like that. So we have a Georgia Institute of Technology computer science student, minor in economics, undergraduate research. So they have good education experience projects, some of the technical skills. What did they do? Analyze the solo growth model to observe declining long-term growth rates in GDP per capita. Using World Bank indicators across 5. Analyzing using World Bank indicators across 5-year panels. Okay, see, this is another resume where they're just kind of listing out the role that they had, the responsibilities that they had. Oh, they're analyzing some data. They were using World Bank indicators across 5 panel data. So, like, just what was the impact? Why did you have to do this analysis? Right? Why did you have to look at World Bank indicators? Like, what was this correlation based study for? Worked with Emory student. Led a 5-person develop, trained and tested with 95 across 10K test images. Presented the app and won 3rd place. Built an interactive iOS app that allows users to share their day in 3 words or pictures. I mean, the bullet points here could be improved a lot. I think when it comes to just the formatting, the content basics, that's all good, but I think just the experience, just having results oriented, not just responsibilities, metrics and impact clearly stated, and then formatting your bullets in this format will go a long way here and make your resume a lot stronger. The bullet points are a bit weak. That's my perspective from here. Holy crap. I just graduated from a really average state school. Do you think it's worth to do masters online at Georgia Tech while working full time? I think it's really I think it's worth it. I've thought about it a bunch of times, but I just never really got into it. The main reason I wanted to do Georgia Tech was just to actually learn. But if you're trying to get a job, I don't know, talk to the people in the chat. There's a few people in this chat who are taking that degree. Okay, my voice is taking some damage. We'll probably do 2 more of these and then clock out. And then I'll show you my resume that got me into Meta. So just wait 5 minutes and you'll see my resume that got me into Meta. Georgia Institute of Technology. Involvement. Competitive machine learning team. Big data impact. Carding club. This good experience. Good technical skills. Reduce single cell RNA sequencing workflow by 85% with React web application backed with Mistral LM hosted on a Google Compute Engine instance. Boosting research productivity. See, this is a good bullet point compared to the last person's. Because then I see what the project they're actually working on. They're reducing a single cell RNA sequencing workflow time. Developed RAG-based full-stack Flask app, automating gene enrichment analysis, quickening workflows by 15%. See right there, I already see the impact or the specific. I already have a picture of what project they're working on. See these bullet points? They're technically deep and they're painting a picture in my head of what they're actually working on or what they're actually doing. And that's very important because I need to understand what they've done in the past, and I need to, in my head, come up with just a judgment on if it's impressive enough to move them forward. Develop 2 novel metrics in detecting dataset biases with LangChain and pandas, enabling equitable models, reduce dataset bias by 25% through an augmentation algorithm using k-means clustering. So a lot of these are super research focused. So the main thing with super research focused roles, if I'm trying to hire them for like a big tech company, is that they're just super research focused. And these research focused ones, a lot of the research focused roles, you kind of work on things in isolation. So you don't have to deal with all of the weird stuff that happens in the real world, which is very unstructured and chaotic. So that's the main thing, that when I see somebody with just too many research related things, and if I'm trying to hire them for a startup or I'm hiring for like a product role or any role at a public or private company, it's hard. I have to second guess it if all they did was research work, because you're kind of in a bubble when you do that. Yeah, decent projects. Junior chatbot that transforms biomedical. Yeah, I think the bullet points are good. Engineer chatbot that trains bioinformatics models given a large data set with natural language using. Holy crap. My voice has taken damage. But built a MERN-Stack app with Spotify API to recommend indie songs. So I'm gonna have to stream tomorrow because I didn't finish this. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. This resume I'm done with. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 20. So 20 resumes left. We're pretty good. We're making good progress. We'll continue that tomorrow. Now let me show my resume quick. Yeah, everyone just keeps sending it. Yo, chat, roast my resume. Yo, chat, this is my resume that I used to apply for Meta. It's kind of... My rippling experience is kind of trash, but this is my resume that got me into big tech sort of thing. So at the top I have my first name and last name. I put my technologies at the top here, and then I put my work experience, my projects, my leadership, and I put my education all the way at the bottom. So let's see. These are sort of my bullet points. I try to follow all the advice that I give here when it comes to the formatting and structure. I try to make clear sections so you can see my work experience here, and there's a clear divider between the different sections. I like to have a work experience, projects, leadership, and education, just so I can show off some other things not related to my projects or my work. What else? So when it comes to the bullet points, I try to always have a lot of metrics in there and try to make it results oriented. So, for example, sort of my bullet points for Nova Credit are a lot better. Like the ones at Rippling, I kind of just threw it in there. Yo, what's up, Ryan? So designed and built. So my Nova Credit one is probably better than my Rippling one because I kind of just threw that together. Even though I didn't really work at Rippling, so I didn't really I didn't work there for long enough to do anything that interesting. But at Nova Credit, designed and built our public API from 0 to 1 that can deliver. Sorry, I need to zoom in. So I try to talk about the business impact. So designed and built our public API from 0 to 1 that can deliver credit reports from 16 foreign credit bureaus, which enabled our expansion into the UK and Singapore. So the business impact that I'm trying to show off here is that the project that I did help us move into the UK and Singapore, like expand internationally. And I didn't really. It's not that I didn't want to dive deep into like or it was like a Node.js API or something. I was just saying this is API is built from 0 to 1, and this is the business impact. Research and integrated with Akoya API to enable our cash flow underwriting for lenders using bank transaction data, which led to a successful launch with one of the largest property management companies in the US. So I try to make these a lot more business focused and result. Like I try to really highlight the business reason why I worked on these projects. And you can see I don't really talk about the technologies I use that much. I just throw it at the end. That was sort of my strategy. I know it's way different than a lot of those resumes that you've seen over there where they're kind of mixed in a lot of the technologies that they're working in within the actual bullet point. But for me, the way I was thinking it was that I just wanted to show what I did, and I didn't think that the specific technology that I use was that important because most of the time they just kind of care what you did, and then you can just learn their tech stack unless it's very specific. Redesigned our user and access management infrastructure for scale by refactoring towards permission-based access control, implementing password expiration, and developing new ways to partition users within organizations. So let's talk about some of my internships because a lot of people here are students. So I worked at this one company as a machine learning intern. Increased the accuracy of an object tracking system by 20% by implementing K-mean filters to approximate the location of objects under occlusion, and a buffering system to handle missed frames. So you see, even though it's highly technical, I tried to throw in metrics there. So how did I improve the object? So you could see this one clearly follows that accomplished X as measured by Y by doing Z. So what did I accomplish? I increased the accuracy of my object tracking system by 20%. And then by doing what? By implementing K-mean filters, by implementing a buffering system. And you can see with a lot of this, increase the speed of object tracking system by multi-threading. Reduce software build times by 50%. So you could see that I just talk about the metric that I drove right away, and then I say how I did it. So this is my resume for getting into big tech. These are some of the projects that I had. So I built a Chrome extension that currently has 2,000 weekly active users, 4,000 installs, and 23 5-star ratings. I had a research paper that I built where I built an AI gym camera, achieved an accuracy of 98.6% on an exercise detection system by developing an algorithm that uses convolutional neural networks and pose estimation. And then I have some of the leadership and awards that I was doing. So Kleiner Perkins, and then some hackathons that I wanted links to those actual hackathons. And then like I put my crappy resume there, and I still put my education there. Or I put my crappy GPA there still, I don't care. But yeah, chat, any comments on my resume? And anything that, what are y'all rating it? Any feedback? 9.99. Yeah, I try to follow. You could see that a lot of my bullet points, I try to talk about the actual project that I was working on versus the actual technology. So, for example, when we solid eight, I would expand a rippling. Yeah, the rippling, dude. I barely had anything to. I just kind of whipped this up real quick. This is kind of what you can see that my bullet points went from a lot more technically focused to just more business focused as well here. Do you think the name plays a bigger role than the points themselves? I don't know. Sometimes. Nice. 2 out of 10 is still better than zero. But yeah, you could even see, okay, for example, for my Chrome extension, you already saw a lot of the students, they built something and they talk about, oh, I built it using Next.js. Oh, I built it using TypeScript. I hooked it up to an AWS backend, right? They're kind of just listing out the technologies, how they built it. Like, I didn't really want to do that. I just want to, that's kind of a, that's kind of a given here. It's built using all those technologies, but the main thing that I did was put it out there and drove and was able to get 2,000 weekly active users, 4,000 installs, and 23 5-star ratings. This is not cap too. Oh, shoot. So, like, instead of listing out the technologies and what I did, I kind of, that's kind of a given. Like, I built it with all of that stuff in mind. If I had to list that out, this bullet point would be really, really long. But instead, I just say this is the impact. Even for example with this, so when we had to build out this cash flow underwriting project, I think it's more interesting to talk about that we built a new product line and launched it with the biggest, with one of the largest property management companies in the U.S. Then talk about like the technology, like, oh, I used TypeScript or JavaScript, or I use C++ to pull from an API. You know what I mean? Like that's sort of encapsulated with this work. So when they start asking me about this inside of a interview, I start talking about, oh, how do we actually build this cash flow underwriting product? Oh yeah, we pulled data from the specific banks. We pulled it into our system. Then we sent it off to Equifax, and then we had our data science team to build the models that we deployed, and we would use those models in order to take the bank transaction data and classify the bank transaction data as like expenses or liabilities, etc. Like, you can go deep into this project, but it's hard. The more experience you get, it's hard to just turn it into bullet points that involve tech. So I kind of just want to talk about just the business impact that it drove, kind of thing. That's just the way I did it. But yeah, my rippling work experience is kind of trash. I didn't put anything too good there, because I kind of just whipped this up last second when a bunch of companies were asking me to just send it in. Daniel, send your resume inside of the Discord. But yeah, holy, we're gonna get back to more of those resume reviews. Yo, Ryan, thanks for tuning in. Ryan was in here. Ryan's a legend. If anybody needs a job, he's high up. He's high up. Go follow him on LinkedIn. Whenever he has a posting, go apply to that, because he's like director level or something. But thanks everyone for tuning in. You got to see Yeah. Ryan, I'll recommend Paul right now. I mean, I'll recommend half these people in the chat. Dude, I'm thinking of moving downtown Calgary. How is it out there? How is it in Calgary? Dude, Calgary. Where do you live right now? Do you live in Calgary? I don't know. Ontario? I heard like Toronto and Vancouver are probably the most lit cities out in Canada. Calgary is good too. Calgary is lit too. I don't know about moving downtown though. Moving downtown there is kind of boring and quiet. So Daniel, what's your Discord handle? Hannah Baker. Where's that? I don't see that. Where'd you send it? Did you send that in the resumes channel? Resume channel. Oh, nah. I have like multiple accounts. Send it to Jake Peralta. I'll look at Daniel's real quick, then I'm gonna clock out. Cause I'm on call, bro. Bro, is it anonymized? Send it in the resume review channel. It says drop resumes. You have an AWS final. Yo, I already requested access. You didn't give me access. But if you already have a final round interview, like why do I need to give advice? You already landed the interview. I don't know, like your phone number, your email and stuff. Bro, just anonymize and send it in later. I'm gonna clock out because we'll work more on this tomorrow. We got a lot more to do. We got a lot more resumes to do. We got this Berkeley kid and a ton. But we're making progress. Making slow but steady progress. I wasn't planning on streaming tomorrow, but now I have to. We'll get this done. All right, everyone. Thanks again for tuning in for those resume reviews. I hope you found it helpful. We're gonna continue to do more of these. This is your resume. I can finish? Oh, this is your resume right here? Okay. Yeah. But Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, we're gonna be straight doing coding, leak code again. We're gonna be testing people on algos. That's what's happening Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. But today and tomorrow, like, we're just helping people with resumes, which is still important. Resume is the first part for actually getting a job. So, all right. Thanks for tuning in. I'll put my outro. How'd you sent it in? Hell yeah, we're doing full loops. I mean, all right. Have a good night, everyone. Thanks for tuning in.
Coffee stains and nimble chains, I am such a loner. San Francisco bases got me slowly taking over. I can't wait to show you that I'm gonna take it over. Lico, beast mode, 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 Lico, beast mode. This is not a main thing, really I'm a coder. Coffee stains and nimble chains, I am such a loner. San Francisco bases got me slowly taking over. I can't wait to show you that I'm gonna take it over. Lico, beast mode.